there's always a hanging limb. I always played it off. If I could take it somewhere, I address it. Sometimes they just throw something right on your fucking lap. And if you don't address it, you feel bad like you have been. But if you address it and they got somewhere to go with it, there's an old tape of mine that I was at the Flappers with you one night.
Uh-huh.
I got on stage, and within the 2 fucking minutes, I got on stage. Some lady goes, "Talk about the Jews." You remember that? Okay, in my world, let's just use that for an example. If I go, shut up, lady. I don't talk about the Jews. They've suffered through, that's the typical Hollywood comic that would say it. Let's talk about the Jews. Let's talk about the fucking Jews. Obviously, she said that because she's Jewish. I had to look real close because I can't see in the dark. Rosh Hashanah says it to me, and fucking she's black. So I played with the Jew joke, and it won. It was good that night. Now, some nights is going to be bad, and some nights is going to be good. And some nights, Lee, you're going to have a 45-minute spot. And at the third minute of your show, somebody's going to say something, and you're going to run with it all the way to the end of the show. You're going to get off the stage going, I can't believe I didn't say a joke.
See, that gives me anxiety. I haven't done that. I've ad-libbed for maybe 3 minutes. Like I don't feel like I'm funny enough yet to just go off the cuff and not do material. When did you start doing that? Like not doing material?
When I first started comedy, I was very anal like you, and I would not go up there without a prepared set. And sometimes I would just do, like, let's say I had 3 minutes, I'd put like 3 jokes, equate them to be 1 minute apiece, but they'd be 10 seconds apiece.
Right.
And
Yeah.
there with 2 fucking minutes of dead air. And I started reaching. That's what I call it, reaching, And then I got comfortable with comedy, but I came to New York, and I made one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of New York comics make is they speak to the audience. They call it ball busting. And for a while, I got involved in that. When you ball bust, you're telling me you don't have material. So when I come right up on stage and I'm like, how you doing? I'm Lee Syatt. What do you do for a living? And yes, it's entertaining for a while. But eventually a club owner is going to go, hey, do you have any material? You can't keep improvising in my club.
Really?
And some guys get really good at it. Some guys get really good at it. And I appreciate that. But again, it's like going to Vegas and throwing a 50-50 dice. I don't know where my set's going to go. And that's great when you're an MC in a feature act. But when you're a headline, unless you're really good at it, they're paying 25, 35, 45 bucks to see you. That's great that you could talk to the audience for 20 minutes, but they're there to hear about you and your world. How your world is different from their fucking world.
Do you ever use it as a way to like mine new material? Like if you weren't headlining, like if you were doing a set at like the Ice House or the Store, but you never really, I don't even really remember you doing it that much. You would ad-lib yourself, but I don't really remember you talking to the crowd that much.
No, because it took me it's like playing basketball and getting a rebound and dribbling and going right back up. That's the worst thing you could do in basketball as a forward, is bring the ball to the ground and dribble it. And once you start to doing it, it's a hard fucking habit to break. And once you start talking to the audience, it's a very hard habit to break. It's a habit that I started in 92 and a half when I started at the Broker as a house MC. And then I came to New York in 93 and I fueled it with the clubs in New York. I saw it working and I would try to do it. And then when I moved back to Colorado, tail end of 93, again, I was back into there. And then something happened in 94 that I got to start writing material. And I did. But when I got to Seattle, I started doing it again. Thank God, Seattle was a little bit more structured of a city for me. And the club managers spoke to you after your set. With my situation was a gentleman named Carl Womanhoven. I just spoke to him on Facebook the other day. He was the club manager on Mondays, and he would always talk to you a little bit. And he said to me, "You don't want to take that habit down to LA."
And what was it about him that like you took his advice? Because I would imagine there'd be some club managers who'd be like, "Fuck you."
He was very knowledgeable about stand-up and just the way he spoke to you. It was never disrespectful in any way or sense. And then I gained respect from him, and I would talk to him after all my sets. Yeah, I would talk to him after all my sets. Just why not? On a Monday and Tuesday, why not?
What are there any other? Because I have one like bad habits that you got into as a stand-up on stage.
Speaking to the audience, going on stage with a bottle of alcohol.
Really?
As,
Okay.
as a young comic, you're trying to be cool. You're trying to, those guys that go up on stage with the drink with the fucking straw and they suck on it or they jiggle the ice cube. It's been done already. Be original, you know, be original. You're going to go up there with the drink to get calm. Who's got their drink on? First time I go see a comic, who's got their drink on? I abandon the fucking ship. What's it got to do? What joke is there about my drink on?
Right.
You
'Cause
know, you
I had like a terrible, and I told you about it for like 3 to 6 months. I was jumping off early. Like sometimes like right as the light hit, I don't know what it was, and I didn't want to, and I tried to fight it, but I was so nervous about running the light that I just like for like months couldn't help but get off like 2, 3 minutes early. And
well,
thankfully it stopped, but
when I first became a comic for the first 5 or 6 years, I was speaking in English, but I was talking in Spanish.
what does that
What
mean?
that meant was I was talking in English, but I was using my Cuban speed talking techniques to get through the jokes because I was very petrified. We all
Right.
do that. If you told me I had 5 minutes, I swear to God, I would do 2, and I'm like, "I'm good with that." But no, you're not good with that. You gotta go up there and do your material. You give me 15 minutes, I show up and do 8 and go, "I'm good." For a long time, that was my bad habit. I'm good. No, bitch, go up there and you owe me 7 fucking minutes. That was a hurdle. Learning how to slow it down, get the confidence to slow it down, assert yourself. And it's something with your body language where you're holding your ground, but you're not in a fight. It's the Florida rule, hold your ground, whatever. And some guy with dirty feet hits you in the head with a fucking bottle. But no, the whole thing is fucking and it takes years, guys. To hold your ground technique is just my confidence. You're not getting around me. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not getting around me. That's what you're thinking about, but that body language lets them know that you're running things. You know, a person gets heckled because he gave 3 or 4 people the idea that he was self-conscious or insecure. What gives you that idea? So that's when the heckling starts. Everybody gets heckled. I got heckled, except I didn't. A lot of times, I let them throw the heckle up, and you don't assert. You don't. You know it's a stupid heckle, and if you do heckle back, you're going to get into an argument, and that's not what your crowd came to see. You winning an argument on stage is not what your crowd came to see.
Yeah, that's
So, what's that?
I it's one of my least favorite things as like a stand-up fan is when I go and like the comic is right away like talking shit on the audience.